the memories of Vietnam and Korea, all the places you went.
It is his song, and so fitting for Bob Hope, who created funny memories for millions of people around the world. Born Leslie Towns Hope in England in 1903, Hope immigrated to the U.S. when he was only 4 and quickly set out to be the king of laughter.
He wrote the book of comedy. The man taught us everything we know, and also he did some slapstick. He did written jokes. He did ad-lib jokes. He did improvisation. He helped so many performers as fillers do it. And all the movie stars he worked with have nothing but wonderful things to say about him.
From vaudeville to radio to movies to television to entertaining the troops, Bob Hope truly ruled the entertainment world. Julian's Auctions and the Auction Network proudly present the Bob Hope Estate Auction, a collection of personal items from his life, career, and estate.
You know, that's what I think is so incredible about the estate, allowing, sharing some of his things with the public. He was an era. He represented an era of a different kind of entertainment that we don't have today. He's a huge piece of history, huge piece of entertainment history. So I think for a fan to actually be able to go to the auction and come home with a piece of history is fantastic, and what a gift. And a lot of these greats, like my dad or like Bob, that stuff isn't really available or out there. So I think it's very generous, I think it's very exciting, and I think it means a lot.
Bob Hope learned and perfected his comedy on stages around the country.
But see, he grew up in vaudeville and burlesque, and he grew up on stage, and he was on stage all the time. And he cared. He knew the technique of jokes, as you do. A joke is constructed. It's a science to telling a joke. First of all, what makes you laugh has to be at the end of the line. It has to be in threes. It has to have a rhythm, And he knew it. And he never varied from the art of comedy.
Hope quickly made the move from vaudeville to radio. He starred on numerous shows for NBC Radio and guest starred on the Philco Radio Time, hosted by his friend Bing Crosby for ABC Radio.
When you met Hope, you were a bit in awe because everybody grew up listening to Bob. This is Bob, by your door, Hope.
On the radio?
Oh, yeah. So to actually meet him was really
He had the naturalness. People didn't think he was above them being a star. He went among them like Jesus. Not that he was Jesus, but he'd go out and say hello like we all do, and we learn from him. At the end of each one of our shows, I go to the audience and say thanks for coming, and that surprises them. That we can walk and chew gum at the same time and be human after the show. That's rare.
While Hope was a man of the people, he felt just as comfortable among the world's blue bloods.
Oh my God, kings, queens, a lot of queens. Practically in this area, there's just everybody in the world. He knew the royal families of every place.
Hope was a consummate entertainer and businessman. His career mimics the rise of modern media, from the silent era to radio, and that road led him from the stage to Hollywood, where he landed at Paramount Studios and worked with famed director Cecil B. DeMille.
And that day, the first day he shot, they shot on stage 7, and there was a deck of a boat, and Bob and Shirley Ross sang "Thanks for the Memories." The next day, Adolph Zukor saw the dailies. He was so impressed with Bob Hope singing to Shirley and the song that he wrote a letter to the story department and said, "Write 2 scripts immediately for Martha Ray and Bob Hope."
Hope starred in countless films, including The 7 Little Foys, the real-life story of a vaudevillian family which toured the country for over a decade.
And he did so many pictures for us. That picture established him, he was only a sixth position, and he became one of the biggest stars, not only at Paramount, in the history of Hollywood.
By far, Hope's most memorable movies were those he did with his longtime entertainment partners, Bing Crosby and Dorothy Lamour.
Yeah,
How many?
They did 9 road pictures,
9 road
which
pictures.
were enormously successful.
Hope and Crosby's Road 2 pictures were instant hits. The Road to Utopia included the song Personality, which became a major hit. Their last Road 2 film was The Road to Hong Kong in 1962. Hope's early mentors at Paramount helped him develop his comedic style for the visual media.
And if you watch Bob, his eyes enhance every joke he has, and it all reverts back to Mitch Lyson the first day he was here at Paramount. He's told me many times.
As Hope's star rose, so did the number of leading ladies he worked with, including screen legend Jane Russell.
There was a scene where they were going to have to light up the whole place, and you could see that it was going to take some time. And I think it probably was like 5 o'clock or something. And he said, well, I think I could get in about 9 holes if I left now. And he just went across the thing, and as the door was slamming, the director went, Bob, you come back here. And we all burst out laughing and went home.
Russell forged a long friendship with both Bob and his wife Dolores.
We were doing a show in New York, and the show was over on the west side, but he was staying on the east side. But I wanted a hotel right by the theater,
yeah.
So I didn't have to get a cab or work, and I was right across the street from the theater. And one morning, or afternoon, whenever we were doing the show, I woke up late, and I had a flannel nightgown on. It was wintertime, and I just sort of grabbed my my coat because my beaded gown was over there, and I went across the street, and Bob's on the stage, and I could tell he's near the end, and I went over to the side, and I went like this and showed him, and he was, oh! So then,
Flash, Bob Hope.
Then he had to think a lot about some other jokes while I ran in and got into the beaded gown.
Amazing.
Things like that happened to us.
From movies to Broadway, Hope took the next step and conquered the new mass medium of television and forged new partnerships with the leading lady of television, Lucille Ball. Hope dominated television, hosting the Bob Hope Presents the Chrysler Theater in the early 60s. His comedy made him the easy favorite to host the annual Academy Awards for several years, an award he never won, and jokingly referred to the ceremony as the religious event of Passover at his house.
Well, of course, growing up, my dad was madly in love with Bob Hope. We watched everything Bob Hope. So when you grow up watching him, like you haven't really arrived in Hollywood until Bob Hope asked you to do his special.
Yes.
So the first time I was asked, I thought, oh, I wish my dad were alive because I could say,
Yeah.
I have now arrived. I am in show business.
Hope appeared on countless television specials.
And there was nothing he couldn't do, and there was no situation he could be in that he couldn't make fun of. Yeah, I asked him what was the secret. I'm sure everybody has said that to him over the years. What is the secret, for you just staying so calm and working forever? And he said he didn't believe in retirement, that was part of it. In show business, you never retire. And he said, and you should sit down whenever you can and have a massage every day.
It's hard to believe, but radio, television, and movies were only a small part of his life.
And he made us all love America even more because of his love for the country.
Bob Hope heads overseas to entertain the troops.